Welcome in to the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali, solo tonight, as the Bills have officially released their 2025 schedule and the entirety of the 2025 NFL schedule has been released. Dom and I will do an in-depth breakdown of the Bills' schedule and opponent schedules, and now we have a lot to talk about NFL-wise. As the Bandits wrap up, they're starting their championship series Friday night, and the Sabres offseason is just the Sabres offseason. So this will give us some good content. We're going to do a little bit of a roundtable, some faces you've seen before, statistician Ginge, Peachin as well. So stay tuned for that coming up on the next official episode of the Buffalonian Podcast. But for now, figured let's stick our feet in the water, toes in the water, dip them in, and look at the schedule as it's been released. They started off hot. Week 1, Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football opener against the Baltimore Ravens. Big rematch from the divisional round. Mark Henry, Butterfingers, right? Like, the storylines can write themselves. It makes sense that this was the game picked to start things out on Sunday Night Football. So not really a surprise there, but going to be an entertaining matchup to say the least. Could see the Bills dropping this game. In all seriousness, how they play in Week 1. I get it. Past results don't guarantee future outcomes, but it's not something that would be out of the question, them dropping Week 1 against the Ravens. Rather have that happen in the beginning of the season than in the end. But moving on to Week 2, September 14th, they're in New Jersey playing the Jets, the New York Jets, without Aaron Rodgers. The Justin Fields-led New York Jets as of right now. It's a 1 o'clock game, so you go from prime time to 1 o'clock. Nice 7-day gap. No short week, but just as soon as you say that, you head to Thursday Night Football the next week. So that's a very quick turnaround against the Dolphins. Luckily, you're at home, the final season of Highmark Stadium. You're there against the Dolphins with a 8:15 kickoff for Prime Video. So that'll be Prime Video taking over then. Then you're back at 1 o'clock in the next week, Week 4, Sunday, September 28th against the New Orleans Saints. That should be a good game. 1 o'clock. That should be a winnable game for the Bills. After a couple, the Jets seem winnable. The Dolphins could go either way, depending on how they play, how Tua plays. So you're not in the scorching heat in Miami, so you have a better chance, as we know from a few years ago. So after the Saints, though, this is where it gets interesting. The New England Patriots under new leadership, Mike Vrabel. And a familiar face for the Bills after a brief stint with the Texans and an ACL tear. Stephon Diggs is going to be returning to Highmark Stadium Sunday, October 5th, at 8:20 p.m. That'll be a Sunday Night Football game again. So within a few weeks, Week 1 to Week 5, you're back on Sunday night, and you're in primetime 3 out of the first 5 weeks of the NFL season. So starting them off early. The next week, you're in primetime again in the ESPN early window primetime, 7:15. They're going to do this Monday Night Football doubleheader, playing the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta, the Buffalo Bills. So then they have a Week 7 bye week. So weeks 1 through 6, 3 out of the 4 out of the 6 games are primetime games. And then after that, the schedule does kick up. Not right away, though. You play the Carolina Panthers at 1 p.m. Sunday, October 26th for Week 8. Bryce Young, you know how I feel about him. I'm a Bryce Young believer. I'm excited for that game. That'll be good to watch. Week 9, the next week, the annual matchup between the Bills and Chiefs at this point. The rivalries there. Chiefs ended the Bills season once again. That's going to be the big storyline, and whoop-de-doo. They play each other in the CBS primetime window, as Dom loves to call it, at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time. They have that matchup every season, just in a straitjacket, just completely locked down. There's no moving that from CBS. Bills-Chiefs will never be a primetime game unless it's a playoff game. By any means, because of how CBS just hangs on to that for the storyline's sake. Will the Bills finally, will they lose in the regular season and win in the postseason, or will they win both times? I don't know. So we're going to have to wait and see on that. We'll get Dom's take on that the next episode. Then after the Chiefs, you head to Miami, November 9th, Week 10, 1 o'clock p.m. Hopefully, it shouldn't be super hot in Miami by this point. You're looking at 70s, good football weather, I would say, just from my experience in Florida in November. But nonetheless, you have to be prepared. Divisional opponent twice a year. You don't know. You could split the series with Miami either way. Then you not stay in Florida. You're playing a Florida team the next week for Week 11 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Sunday, November 16th. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans. that could be a scrappy team you play. Baker Mayfield's a scrappy quarterback. We've seen things from him last season on the Bucs. We didn't really expect to see out of him after his stint in Cleveland and how he bounced around. So don't sleep on that game either. 1 p.m. on CBS. That should be a good game. And then the next week, week 12, prime time once again, Thursday Night Football. Only had one Thursday Night Football last year, if I'm not mistaken, for the Bills. This season, this is the second 2 out of 2. There's not another Thursday night game against the Houston Texans after that abysmal coaching performance from both sides last year. So that game is going to be 8:15 p.m. on Prime Video Thursday night. Then week 13, the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're playing at Acrisure Stadium in the city of Pittsburgh, 4:25 p.m. on CBS. So that should be a solid game. You don't know. Will Howard could be leading that team at this point because Aaron Rodgers could be heading to New Orleans. I mean, you might be playing Aaron Rodgers earlier in the season with their current quarterback situation after Derek Carr has retired. So you don't know. Aaron Rodgers might not be off the Bills' schedule, but probably in the Steelers' eyes, they're going to be looking elsewhere. And then after the Steelers, staying in the AFC North, Sunday, December 7th against the Cincinnati Bengals, 4:25 p.m. on Fox. So that's going to be a good game as well. The Bengals, whenever they play the Bills, they have their number. Of course, the horrific Damar Hamlin incident a few years back, but that abysmal performance in the divisional round at Highmark Stadium in the snow. The Bengals had their number, and is this going to be the season the Bills finally come out hot and are able to do something against the Bengals? Because years past, that's not how it's looked. And I know the Bengals haven't started well, but that doesn't mean next season they won't. I mean, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, you can never count those guys out. They put up 40-point performances. Their defense just lets them down. So we'll see how the Bills do it this time around against the Bengals. Sunday, December 7th, week 14. Week after that, 1 o'clock p.m., divisional game against the New England Patriots. You're in Foxborough at that point after the primetime bout earlier in the season. We'll see how it goes. Stephon Diggs, second time seeing the Bills in the season. And, will Drake May? I think the Patriots are going to be second in the AFC East. I think they're going to be the team to contend with outside of Buffalo. I think the Dolphins and Jets take a step back, because the Dolphins just can't seem to beat mediocrity in any way or quarterback injuries. Again, not rooting for an injury, but it's just the way things go and have been going for Miami these past couple seasons with Tua Tagovailoa. And then the Jets, Justin Fields, you're finding a new identity. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. So the Patriots, 1 p.m., December 14th. No Thanksgiving or Christmas games for the Bills. No big holidays. I'm a fan of that. I know a lot of people who want that, and it's just like, okay, maybe because I would have to work the game, I'd have to miss out on the family holiday. I think it's just better off for the program that none of the teams play on, national holidays. I don't want my blood pressure rising to 1,000,000 on Christmas Day with my family or Thanksgiving, while my blood pressure is already increasing from the amount of salt I'm eating. So, I'm good with no holidays for the Bills. And then December 21st, Sunday, December 21st, after the Patriots game, they take on the Cleveland Browns. What quarterback will they choose? They have a roulette wheel at this point with the amount they have on their roster. I'm hoping it's Shedeur Sanders at this point. That'd be pretty interesting to see him develop into a NFL quarterback. But it could be Joe Flacco for all we know. So we'll wait and see on that one. Sunday, December 21st, Week 16, Cleveland Browns, 1 p.m. Week 17, this is the heavy hitter to end the season. This is big before the AFC least matchup to end it in Week 18. But Week 17, December 28th, the Philadelphia Eagles, 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be on Fox. That's their America's Game of the Week, I assume, at 4:25 p.m. And yeah, this is going to be a good one. The last time the Bills and Eagles met, it went to overtime. There was a 65-yarder made by Jake Elliott in the rain. Jalen Hurts ices the game himself. Like, it was just, they're wearing their Kelly greens. It's historic. I think it's going to be a good matchup. Defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. So this could be a big statement for the Bills, depending on where their record's at, what they're up to, if they're making a Super Bowl run, for them to be able to put that together, make that win. And I'm looking forward to that game. Probably one of the more anticipated games for me going into the season is that matchup with the Eagles. And, of course, it's all the way at the end. They keep you on till the last second before you end the season at home against the New York Jets with a to-be-determined time. Has not been put out yet, and that's how that always is, depending on, the playoff scenarios. They're going to wait and see who has to play where, that kind of a thing. So could get flexed. I don't think it will. I don't think the Jets are going to be anything contending for any playoff spot. No offense to Justin Fields. I just think that team's a mess. They're going to have to put themselves back together after the cancer of Aaron Rodgers wreaked havoc on their system. So I would say it's a solid schedule for the Bills. There's some big heavyweight bouts on there. There's some easy gimme games that are just on paper. I'm not going to sit here and, I'm knocking on wood as I'm saying that, but the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints with their quarterback situation, those teams, they're on the up and up. That would be a team where a Goliath like the Bills would be able to take them down. So you're hoping they're able to do that. But other than that, I think I'm going to save more of the analysis for when Dom Loss joins me with our roundtable of other guests on the Buffalonian Buffalo Bills schedule breakdown. But yeah, let me know what you think. Comment down below. Remember, like and subscribe. Leave a review if you're listening on audio. Much appreciated. But hope you enjoyed this little speedy breakdown of the 2025 Buffalo Bills schedule. We'll look at the full NFL schedule as well. Pick out some big national games that are going to be they're going to be heavy hitters as they come. So stay tuned for that. But without further ado, that's going to do it for this special edition of the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali, and for Dom Loss, I'll leave you with this: Go Bills.